Is everyone having a good day? Good. Hold that thought. Okay, I do have an awful lot of words to say, an awful lot of people to thank. So I do have some words prepared, which I'm going to read from. And actually, 70 years ago, BSHAA was formed by a small group with big ideas. It was the 2nd of October, 1954, when a group of 54 hearing men and women came together for their first informal meeting of the society. Since then, it's grown into a vibrant, resilient, and proud organisation representing excellence in hearing care. Today we take a moment not only to look back, but to honour those whose dedication has been the backbone of our society. Their dedication has made a difference. Their efforts have paved the way not only for us to walk on, but for future generations to thrive. To help us do that, I'd like to invite someone to the stage to start off our special thanks to the people who've served our members and played an important piece in our history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome BSHAA's Director of Events and Treasurer, Ms. Judith Mee.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we feeling? Has the sugar kicked in yet or not? Are we having that low? Well, we need lots of energy now, so let's have a whoop. Woo! We can do better than that. Come on, let's have a whoop. Woo! That'll do. I'll move on. So, before we begin the formal presentations, I'd like to pause for a moment of recognition. First, we remember a well-respected and much-loved member of the Society, the late David Wellborn. Though David is no longer here with us, I am certain he would have been delighted to share in today's milestone and to celebrate all that we've achieved together. Speaking of Davids, there's another we must mention, David Peel. And it's not David Peel. It's not you, David Peel. It's another David Peel. How many of there are you? He was very much with us in spirit as he is away on a well-deserved holiday. Many of you will recall the outstanding contributions that David and Linda Peel made over the years, organising the People's Magazine, conferences, and so much more. Their dedication set a standard we continue to value. Now, it's with great pleasure to turn to two individuals who are very much with us today. For many years, they have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to support the Society. Their efforts, though often out of the spotlight, have had a profound and lasting impact. It is with deep appreciation that we recognise their remarkable service and invite them forward to receive this award. For his years of dedication, leadership and unwavering support of our profession as BSHAA's first CEO, please come and join me on stage, Alan Talbot. Yay! What have you done today?
Alan, thank you for your service.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, yes, please.
Over to you.
Bad tactical mistake there, Alan.
Do I need to take a seat?
Yes, you do actually. Yes. Always got something to say. I have. First of all, absolutely delighted to be here today. And to observe the huge progress that BSHAA continues to make. I knew I was in the right place when I saw in the car park the registrations. At least one has got EAR, and has anyone got lug? No, doesn't ring any bells?
Nobody's admitted to it anyway.
Yes, I've got one of the lugs, and one of the other BSHAA members had the other lug. And delighted to be with you all. And perhaps I just make one observation about BSHAA and the future for BSHAA. I think I would suggest you've got a bright future for two reasons. One is that the hearing aid is being transformed, that it will be moving from some sort of assistance against a loss of something to an enhancement of a human ability. And to me, human enhancement is very much the zeitgeist at the moment. I do some work in AI and automotive vehicle technology, autonomous vehicle technology, and it's clear that the interface between humanity and the world of intelligence can go in two directions. It can either go in the direction of we all bow down to this thing called AI, and well, it seems to be good for us, so we will think that it's got to be a good thing to do, or we will say AI has got a role, but not in terms of taking away from human abilities. It is giving to human abilities. And so I think that feeds into the idea of hearing care being about an enhancement, and therefore for a younger generation, not just those of us who grudgingly say, well, we've got to the time we need to get it. So that's one thing out of the way. The other thing out of the way is BSHAA and excellence is a bond that you cannot break and should not break, because it's the only thing professional hearing aid dispensers have got is their professional excellence. And you give that up at your danger, you enhance that at your benefit. So another 70 years of being excellent at being at the forefront of hearing technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Alan, could I ask you? Thank you.
For her tireless service, mentorship and commitment to advancing hearing care as BSHAA's secretary, please come and join me, Jill Humphreys.
A name that resonates with many, I'm sure. Jill, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's been a joy to be here. Thank you.
Can we have a photo opportunity with you?
Can we get a
please?
photo?
Thank you.
Yep, okay, there you go, Ben.
you.
Not for the first time, Jill.
Okay. Do you want to go off this side, guys? If you don't. Please join me in giving a heartfelt round of applause to these remarkable individuals.
Of course, our society owes a huge gratitude to all volunteers who've served on our board over the last 70 years. But during that time, BSHAA has been guided by a remarkable line of presidents. In fact, 42 of them. Their leadership, dedication and integrity have helped shape our profession and community into what it is today.
Today we are fortunate to have several of those past presidents with us, and we'd like to show our appreciation for their vital place in history. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to recognise and honour our past presidents. Please join me in welcoming our first past president to the stage, Maureen Lundy.
Maureen, lovely to meet you at last.
Thank you.
I've been told that I may need a microphone for you. And without any further introduction, what can I say, Maureen? Our first ever female president.
Thank you.
Also our longest ever serving president. And if that wasn't enough, he came back and did it all over again.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Firstly, may I say how delighted Gil and I am to be here today. I cannot believe it's such a long time since I've joined the BSHAA Council, 52 years ago, actually. So that's quite a thing. You know, when I started I couldn't help but think when I listened to the panel today that I said to Gil this morning, funnily enough, so much has changed. I'll not recognise some of the needs of our hard of hearing population. Of course, in many ways, nothing's changed. Expectations are still not met. The image is not correct yet. And here we are, 50 years, 70 years later, as my concern, 52, thinking, well, it's marvellous that we're still here and doing a job. Now, I joined BSHAA Council in 1973. And I must tell, I'd like to recall a few memories, which I'm sure you'll enjoy, those of you who are so much younger than I. First memory is my first meeting of the BSHAA Council. First female to be honoured on it and elected, and I went along there, and the then dear president, who I'm not going to name, and you'll understand why in a minute, said, "We welcome you on board, Maureen. It's delighted to have a female member here." "Thank you," I said. And then he said, "It's so wonderful having a lady with us. She'll be so helpful in arranging the flowers at the annual dinner." It was then I realised that challenges lay ahead, and they surely did. The first challenge was to try and improve the image of the dispensing profession and dispensers generally. In those days, and I hope it's changed a lot, we were all viewed as rogues and vagabonds exploiting the hard of hearing, providing something at great cost that wasn't fulfilling the needs. So how do we do, and that was compounded actually in 1978, a very negative article appeared in the Witch magazine. And we were all quite concerned about it. I was dispatched down to the Department of Trade and Industry to try and put our side of the case forward and soften the blow, if you like, a little. I arrived there. I didn't get to see the Secretary of State, but I did see a junior minister. And we had, as they would say in today's parlance, a constructive conversation. As a result of that meeting, lines of communication were opened with the department and other organisations, and we would then move forward to communicate with people like Michael Martin of the RNID, Freddie Bloom of the NDCS, David Hobman of Age Concern UK, as it was called then, and we were able to meet, exchange ideas, and soften approaches, both socially and at a business level. That was the first challenge. Second challenge was dealing with our members themselves, because as you'll appreciate in those days, and hope it's changed, there was a great divide between companies and individual dispensers. And why? Well, the companies wanted to do things their way. The individual dispensers, of which I was one, thought it was not the right way. We should do it differently. We realised there had to be a compromise, but things had to change. So slowly, we put into place a period of what we would call evolution rather than revolution. Advertising practices were modified. It was realised that we had to perfect more our dispensing and aftercare programme, which we worked on. And then, of course, dear Alex Campbell, one of my very dear friends and colleagues, mooted the idea of a continuing education programme. which again met with resistance because after all, we're talking about commercial interests all the time. But slowly, things evolved. And that was quite helpful because during that time, there was the formation of the Hearing Aid Council. Now, those of you who've worked on the Hearing Aid Council will know that that was quite a hostile environment. And it was really hard work to get the professionals to acknowledge that we weren't all rogues and vagabonds. We were well-meaning and wanted to serve the deaf and hard of hearing. We then went on to have to deal with another challenge, and this is really significant, was the National Health Service. I remember, some of you will remember dear Peter Worth, and he rang me up late one night, as he was prone to do. Maureen, he said, you better pack up your bags, close the door. We're all going to be out of business. Really, I said, and why? Well, the NHS are providing a behind-the-ear hearing aid free of charge. Hitherto, only body-worn instruments had been provided, and here we were having to compete with a post-oral instrument free of charge, continue with aftercare and everything that goes with it. And what was more alarming was the fact that Oticon, a highly respected organisation, a supplier whom we in the private field have been using for years, had got the contract. So what do? Well, we realised the only way for us to survive was to be one step ahead, both in technology, provision, and aftercare. And who came to the rescue initially? And I think someone's here today, well, the company's here today, and it was Starkey, coming over the horizon from America with the first all-in-the-ear hearing aid. And that was pivotal for us at that time, because we were able to help people cosmetically as well as audiologically. That was quickly followed by Widex, with Widex Senso, which is a game changer. For me, in my practice, it was absolutely pivotal because I was able, as a result of the Widex Senso, liaise with GPs and the hospital, and that as a result of that, we established a direct referral service, which was absolutely marvellous. So, here we are today, 70 years on. We haven't shut up shop. We're still fitting the deaf and hard of hearing, well, hard of hearing really, aren't we? And helping thousands and thousands of people and improving the quality of their lives, as well as breakthrough work with deaf children. But before I go, Mr. President, I'd leave you with one very personal story. In the early days of the Hearing Aid Council, it was routine for us at the annual lunch to invite VIPs. And on this particular occasion, Jack Ashley, MP for Stoke, member of the Labour government, MP for government for over 22 years, he himself profoundly deaf, was invited, and I was asked to host him, which was a pleasure, an honour, delighted to do. Well, it all turned out very well. At the beginning, we had pre-lunch drinks, very amicable, and then we sat down to lunch. And during the course of the lunch, Mr. Ashley I said to Mr. Ashley, tell me, what's your hopes for the deaf and the hard of hearing? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to sit down. Thank you. He said, what's your hopes for the deaf and hard of hearing? I said, and he looked at me. He said, Mrs. Lundy, I will not rest until I put you all out of business. True. President, testify today. He didn't put us out of business. We're here. Congratulations to everybody, and many, many thanks.
Well, I can certainly say, Maureen, yes, we are still very much in business, thankfully, as are all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Maureen Lundy, an inspiration to us all.
Yeah.
Maureen, did you stay seated?
Sorry, where do you want me to sit?
Just stay there.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Say one more word.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Am I able to stop you?
Not very easily. What I meant to say at the beginning of these few words, that we can't let today go by without acknowledging my friends and colleagues who worked alongside me in those very early days. Some of the names are up there, and unfortunately no one's here today, but I have to mention Peter Worth, Ron Westcombe, Sasha Georgievic, Desmond Greener, Neville Brown, and Alex Campbell. They were absolutely instrumental in the formation of this wonderful profession. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how she's going to follow that, but next we are delighted to invite Karen Finch.
Karen, thank you for your service. Our second female president. That's for you. Yes, thank you. Would you like to follow up on Maureen with a few words?
Thank you. But I'm a chatterbox, especially those people in the
Do I
room
need
that
to
know
take a
me
seat?
well. So I decided I couldn't be as brilliant as you. I'm so sorry. I couldn't do this without a piece of paper in front of me. And the nerves will always get the better of me. So I just want to say that I joined BSHAA Council in November 2003, and I stayed for 13 years, unlucky for some. In that time, I held roles as treasurer, the PR chair for about 8 years, the Congress lead for, I think, large conferences for a good 6 or 7 years, and then I was president somewhere in the middle of all of that between 2004 and 2006. A very male-orientated board, you'll understand when I say that, who welcomed this pint pot, pocket rocket female on asking far too many questions and saying why, daring them to think wider, to be more inclusive, and always to consider the independent audiologist. In my presidential 2 years, we conducted a series of surveys on the NHS audiology waiting lists. And they were highlighting, of course, the NHS waiting times for hearing aids and appointments. Now, this culminated in the results being published right the way across the UK in national newspapers, radio interviews across the country, and, of course, TV coverage. And with the media using headlines such as, "People who are going deaf may have to wait up to 4 years before they have a national health hearing instrument." And figures in a survey by the British Society of Hearing Aid Audiologists suggest that some elderly patients may die before they can have their hearing aid fitted. Lovely headlines from the Nationals. But that PR campaign took us to another level. And BSHAA was invited by the House of Lords to host a parliamentary reception. And yes, Muggins here, as a serving president, was then called upon to do the keynote speech. Now, you may imagine, absolutely petrified as I am today, me from sleepy Suffolk speaking in the House of Lords. I can recall stepping up onto the platform, notes in hand, faces all fixed on me, and delivering that BSHAA speech to what seemed like an army of suited and booted professionals, eager to learn what we had to say. But once it was over, my husband, who was at the back of the room, embraced me, and he basically said, "Well done. You did that without a hitch." Then he paused and he stepped back and said, "I suspect I was the only person in the room who knew how nervous you were Because your skirt was shaking. I'll give up my 2 minutes now. Thank you so much for today's conference, for the wider team of today, for all of you coming, and for being part of my life for that 13 years. It gave me strength to fight for others in our profession and for shaping me into who I am today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. BSHAA President 2004 to 2006. And actually, thank you for continuing to serve us as part of our membership working group. Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Finch.
Thank you, Karen. Everyone, would you please help me to welcome Mark Georgievic.
Mark, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your service. That's for you. Perhaps somebody that needs a little introduction, but BSHAA's only ever father and son president. Dad, Sasha, member of the very first Hearing Aid Council. Yourself, member of the very final Hearing Aid Council. And here with us today.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much for inviting me. I feel very honoured that you've invited me today. It's great to be able to speak to all of you. I'm thrilled to be able to see the legendary Barry Downs here today and Roger Lewin, who was so famous that a pen was named after him. Alan Talbot, and you guys over there, Jill. It's fantastic to see you all. I'm so thrilled that BSHAA has survived and thrived since I departed. I'm very honoured to speak on behalf of my father today, and I heard so many conversations over the phone between my father and Maureen. It's a real honour for me to meet Maureen. I don't think we've ever met before. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about me and how I've tried to emulate my father. My father was a lawyer. I was a lawyer. I knew absolutely nothing about hearing aids. I worked as a corporate lawyer, and in 1993, my father said to me, "Mark, it's time for you to come and join the family business. We don't have enough for you to do as a lawyer, but we'd like you to qualify as a hearing aid dispenser." To be honest with you, I was absolutely appalling at physics, chemistry, and biology, and I was really quite frightened by taking this exam, thinking, I can't possibly fail this. But Stuart Spencer, and I want to say that it's so gratifying for me to see about 12 Scrivens-trained audiologists sat in this room. My father would be incredibly proud. But I got through the exams, I did my pre-reg, and I realised that what we were doing as a company at Scrivens in supplying those horrible, ugly, boring beige bananas as they were, but they really made a difference. I was very proud of what we were doing as a company and had been doing since the late 50s, because we really made a difference. Our dispensers really made a difference. From onset of hearing loss to actually wearing a hearing aid and being able to hear the birds tweet and the grandchildren and the kettle whistle as it used to do in those days. When I did my pre-reg, I realized what a great job you guys do. Clearly nowadays you're computer programmers, you're skilled clinicians, and you still provide such an excellent and much needed service for the hard of hearing and those people who really need your professional and clinical abilities and ultimately some fantastic technology that exists out there in the wider world. My father would be incredibly proud of where BSHAA is today. He and I did fight some battles, not together, but on the Hearing Aid Council. He was there right at the beginning. He was BSHAA president between 1968 and 1969 when the Hearing Aid Council was formed. I was on the Hearing Aid Council when we started to decide to get rid of the Hearing Aid Council and move on to the HCPC. Those were tough times in terms of representing dispensers and making sure that your interests were well represented. But ultimately, what's really important, and what you do is very important, is for the betterment of those people who are hard of hearing. You provide such an excellent service. But we're still fragmented as a profession, and that's very sad. And I think my father would also say it's very sad that we're not working together in a unified way to make sure things are right and we give the best possible service to those customers and patients who need what you can provide in such a brilliant way. So I just wanted to wish BSHAA well and you guys well. You do an unbelievable job, and I'm sure that in the future it will only evolve in whatever form with AI, but ultimately we're better together. We represent customers, we provide an excellent service, and you guys, I'm sure, will continue to do that, and BSHAA will be able to support you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, take a seat, Mark. Mark, a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Georgievic.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognising Roger Lewin. Behind him.
Roger, thank you for being with us today. It's a pleasure to meet you also, and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I would also like to, let me shake your hands. Good to see you. I would also like to say what a pleasure it is to see Jill and Alan here today. Absolutely, you were the backbone of what we did when we did it, so thank you very much for turning up. I was actually the president that saw the back of the Hearing Aid Council.
That deserves a round of applause.
Yeah.
We'd all agree HCPC is much.
It left a couple of gaps, which prompts me for just a couple of memories. Actually, one of them was a gap of education. So one of the things that we had to do was put in place an education program. And that allows me to remember who was involved in that. I think me, Barry Downs, and somebody called Gary Holland, who's not here today. So it's nice to mention Gary. We sat in a room and we created the syllabus. To be perfectly honest, I think I did most of the work. I did the heavy lifting. Barry was just along for the coffee, I think. Well, that's the way I remember it, Barry. And also, breaking free of the Hearing Aid Council allowed us to change our scope of practice and to add to our scope of practice, something that we couldn't do before. And of course, wax removal was the very first change of scope of practice. And that allows me to mention Mike Nolan, actually, who was never president, but was strongly involved in education and took that step forward. And so with those couple of memories, it probably also allows me to think a little bit about the future. If I ever had the privilege of serving on BSHAA Council again, I think the things that I would be delighted to pay attention to would be those links to the education and making sure that the pathway through from education to hearing aid dispenser is as close as possible. And also scope of practice. We did wax removal. I would always be thinking, well, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? There should always be something else. So I'm very grateful for the invitation and for the platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, Roger. Please take a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Lewin.
Sadly, Peter Ince is unable to be with us this afternoon following eye surgery yesterday. We send him our very best wishes and ensure that he'll receive his award in due course. But a round of applause for Peter. Continuing our acknowledgements, it gives me great pleasure to welcome up on stage Barry Downs.
Barry, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being with us today. It's a small token of our appreciation to you. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Really is. Oops. Pop that down before I drop it.
I was actually told to split the two of you up. So.
All right. I think today's been really, for me, been emotional. I sort of knew I was going to meet a lot of people that I hadn't seen for quite some time, but I wasn't expecting to meet so many of them. You always realize that you're getting very old when you start to speak about your life in decades. Somehow it seems more comforting that I've been associated with this society for nearly 5 decades, and it's certainly been an integral part of my life for 4 decades. And when I read the advance publicity of this event, a name jumped out of the email. And I thought, amazing. I didn't think I would ever meet her again. I became a council member in the early 1980s, and the president at the time was Maureen Lundy. And I can't tell you, Maureen, just how happy I am to meet you again today. There were long spells of the council, 2 long sessions, only interrupted by the need to join the Hearing Aid Council, which gave me the break. But in the early days, and it was BSHAA, of course, rather than BSHAA, go that far back, then I served as registrar. And I think the predecessor then, was it Ron Westcombe then? Was it Ron Westcombe? Yes, Ron Westcombe. And that was quite an act to follow. It was a privilege to be the registrar. It was also extremely onerous, because those were the days when BSHAA organised weekend training courses for trainees to prepare them for Hearing Aid Council examinations. And there were a lot of weekend courses, a lot of work. We had a lot of support from some famous names, some of them no longer with us, who, because we used to hold the courses at the Royal Throat, Nose and Ear Hospital in Gray's Inn Road. And I had a lot of support. And in those days, the very senior members of the ENT and audiological physician fraternity were really keen to support what we were doing, because the society's reputation was indeed very different, going much further back, and Maureen has spoken about that. So I ended my time with BSHAA and having the privilege and honor to serve as president for those 2 years. And I followed a long line of presidents dedicated to raising the standing and status of our profession, something that we all have a part to play in, both in the past and very much in the future as well. It's been a great pleasure to be here today and meet so many people that I'm so glad to see again. Thank you very much.
We were so glad that you could make it today, Barry. Ladies and gentlemen, huge name in the world of hearing aid dispensing, Barry Downs.
Next, I am delighted to welcome to the stage Peter Sidsurf.
Peter, thank you for your service. Thank you for being with us today. You and I were colleagues at one point.
We were, yes, briefly.
That's for you.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a few words?
I thought you were going to ask me if I was bride or groom. I walked along the line there. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the invite and congratulations on a tremendous event today. It's been a great opportunity to honour those who've gone before us and also to inspire those who will follow us in terms of supporting, running and promoting the society and indeed the profession. Congratulations on a wonderful event. It's certainly been really good so far. Look forward to catching up with old colleagues later on today, and it's a tremendous honour to be on this stage with such exalted company as well. I listened intently to Maureen, and isn't it strange how We think we've got some challenges ahead when we listen to what Maureen and her colleagues dealt with way back when. And it just looks like, of course, all we're doing now is facing different and newer challenges and challenges that have yet to be discovered. So one of the great responsibilities for the society, of course, apart from all the good stuff that my colleagues who went before me have talked about, is the responsibility of the society and the profession to support new people coming in and helping them navigate their way through more difficult times ahead. And I feel a terrible sense of unfairness sometimes when I think about when I qualified in the 90s as a hearing aid dispenser. The most difficult thing I seem to remember wrangling with was whether or not Blur or Oasis were going to get to #1 first. And now, of course, you know, our younger colleagues have so much more to deal with, not least of all AI. There you go, I had to say it, didn't I? Somebody had to bring it in. As we go forward, I think the thing that we can really latch on to, just to summarise what a lot of people have already said about how we do what we do, is that whether it's OTCs or the online experience or AI, these elements of technology are a little more than a tool to support what we do. And people will always value people. So first and foremost, this is not a technology business. This is a people business. And I'll leave you on that thought. Thanks again.
Some very pertinent words there, Peter, and yeah, absolutely true. Enhancement rather than replacement. Enhancement rather than replacement. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Sitzer.
Please give a very warm welcome as she comes up to receive her award, Sarah Vokes.
Sarah,
hi.
After a 10-year hiatus following Karen, our third female president. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
I will. I'm very much like Karen. I've written it down so I don't forget anything. Again, thank you for inviting us to this incredible event today. When I got the invite, I just felt very special. You know, you do this because you care about the profession, you care about the industry, and you care about what you do. But it is nice for the recognition. So thank you. So it's a real pleasure to be here and share some memories of my time as BSHAA president. When I look back, I feel an overwhelming sense of pride and gratitude. It was a period filled with challenge, opportunity, and above all, the privilege of representing the profession that touches lives in the most meaningful of ways. From my beginning, my main aim as president was to bring the NHS and private sector close together, as I worked for 10 years in the NHS and then went over to the private sector. Many kept saying to me I went over to the dark side, but you know, I think the NHS was an amazing place to work and I'll always have a special place in my heart. And the private sector, I was able to do the things that I wanted to do, and to be able to give sort of better technology and to be able to give as much time as I needed, which was valuable for me. I still believe that collaboration is the way forward and that patients benefit most when the whole hearing care community works in partnership, breaking down barriers and sharing expertise. I remember vividly the energy and optimism at our meetings and conferences where ideas were exchanged, friendships were forged, and the shared commitment to patient care shone through in every discussion. Leading the society allowed me to first-hand the dedication of the members, not just to technical excellence, but to the people and families we serve. Of course, there were moments that difficult decision-making, times of change within both our profession and the wider healthcare landscape. But what stays with the most are the conversations with practitioners across the country, the innovations being embraced, and the collective desire to keep moving our profession forward. I'm deeply grateful to those who supported me throughout my presidency, colleagues, friends, and mentors who reminded me that leadership is not about standing alone at the front, but about listening, learning, and bringing people together. I do have special thanks to Peter Sidsurf and Andrew Coulter, who, without them, I do feel, you know, my presidency was made a lot better for us working together, three musketeers. I have to say, it's been an honour to serve, and the memories I hold of the society are that of resilience, compassionate and committed to its future.
Sarah, thank you for sharing that with us today. Please take a seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honouring Andrew Coulter.
Andrew, it's great to see you again. Thank you for your service. And what can I say? The president that led us through the beginning of COVID. Some very challenging times.
Yeah, I actually have written down a few things as well, so I don't forget. It's fantastic to see everyone who's been before me. It's also really, really reassuring to hear that everybody else had a bit of a tough time as well. It was a huge privilege to be BSHAA president, but it's not without pain. It's not that. It can be quite difficult at times. And two main things in my presidency, two small things. One, COVID, obviously, you might remember that. That was a particularly challenging period for us all. And leading the profession, or leading the society through that was fun. I'll say that, but it was great in some ways. But COVID in itself brought out the best in this profession, but also brought out some of the worst. The best was when actually all of the professional bodies worked together to create guidance that was updated pretty much week by week at times. Whether that was a small group of people from BSHAA, BAA, BSA and AHIP that worked tirelessly week in, week out to make things good so that you could be able to get out there and work and support patients. And for me, that really showed what, like Sarah said, what we can do for the professionals, but also for the patients when we work together. The second thing for my presidency that I remember was the College of Audiology. And again, COVID showed what something like a College of Audiology could achieve. And it remains my biggest regret of my presidency that we didn't get that over the line. It would have made a total difference to working together, whether you're working in the private sector, working in the public sector, putting the patient's interest at the centre of it rather than your own. That's the future that we need to get to. And I still believe that we should be at a point where we are all working together. Thank you.
Yeah, some very pertinent points there. Yeah, and certainly one voice will always be the most effective voice.
And I did just want to add to the beginning that David Welburn is really, really missed. He was a very, very good friend of mine. And he really supported me through the really tricky time of COVID. Fantastic man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Coulter. Thank you, Andrew.
Unfortunately, our next past president has been delayed, so Raoul won't be joining us. And finally, it is my privilege to invite our immediate past president and current director of membership, Robert Donnan.
Rob, what can I say? The president that welcomed me into BSHAA, our immediate past president, the person who introduced the medical malpractice insurance as a membership benefit for all of our members. And actually the person who's standing for re-election next month.
Oh dear.
Thank you for your service. Would you like to say a few words?
Just a very few.
Very few.
Yeah, yeah.
We're running short of
So,
time. Really.
I know. So it's so nice to be in such esteemed company. I mean, I'm really privileged to do this job, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that it's given me. And it's just a great pleasure to be amongst people that I really respect. And I'm just looking at all these faces that I've known for 30 years, and I mean, it's just amazing. This is wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Rob, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service. Please take a seat.
Okay, everybody, so please join me collectively to give everyone on the stage a huge, massive, heartfelt round of applause for Rob. Yes, we're now going to have a photo. All right, so if we could just have you standing for a second, and then if Jude and Mike, if you could be at either end of that photo, that'd be great. And I'll try not to fall off the stairs. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so if you're getting trophies.
Yes,
and your awards,
we'll go in.
Lovely.
There you go. Karen.
Yes, fabulous.
Fantastic. Will you just take your seats for a second? Okay. Lovely. So next, chain of office. Did you all get to see it outside? All framed and beautiful. Well, now we are actually going to present that. So symbols carry power, and none more is more important in our organisation than the chain of office. With the original jewel dating all the way back to 1958, the chain has now been beautifully restored, honouring tradition while reflecting our future. Maureen, I wonder if I could ask you, as longest serving past president, would you do me the honour, and us the honour, of presenting this to our current president, please, Mike Marchant?
I would. Thank you. It's a great pleasure. Tell you something. It's a lot heavier.
It's a lot heavier. There's a lot more names on there, don't worry.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how it's done.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maureen.
If you could just stay for the photograph, that would be lovely. We've got to capture these moments while we have them. Can't let them run away. Thank you. So thank you.
Thank you,
Right,
Maureen.
thank you.
And thank you to everyone involved in the restoration. With 42 names now on the chain, it reminds us that this office is borrowed. It's not owned. Each of us, as presidents, past presidents, contribute in a chapter to a much longer story.
Oh, that'll be me. Thank you, Michael. Okay, for those powerful acknowledgements, I really, really appreciate that, Mike. So, but past presidents, may I kindly now ask you to take your seats, and thank you again for coming today and helping us celebrate BSHAA's 70th anniversary.
Yes, Dave.
There's a lot of people on this stage. Yeah? Ah, lovely. Okay, so while everybody makes their way off the stage, we now actually want to acknowledge our current board. Lovely. Super. So we've celebrated the past and now we're celebrating the present. So as we reflect on leadership, it's also right that we thank those currently serving. To our current board members, thank you for your ongoing commitment and vision. And may I ask you to join us now on the stage. And I'm going to call you up one by one and introduce you to everybody. Well, obviously, Michael, we've got you. And we've got Jude. God damn it, can you come back to the stage, please? And then we've got Lynn. Lynn unfortunately can't be with us today, but she sends her best and says to say hello to everybody. And Darren Glancy. Can you come to the stage, please? Our Director of Mediation. And then we've got Jane Rice, Education Support. Annie Morris, Director of Standards. Pascal Flashes is on at the moment, but we wish him all the very best to be working with us soon. Zoe Perry, to our corporate membership award. Okay? And the reason why I've asked the board to join us is that we have a very special presentation today. And we're delighted to welcome Alex Brooks-Johnson from Tinnitus UK Charity, who has joined us to present the corporate membership to BSHAA.
Yeah, it's done.
Thank you, Alex. If you would like to present to Mr. Marchant. There you go, and we've got a photo there, guys. There he is, there's our guy.
Do you want to stand up?
Fantastic. Alex, do you want to say a few words? I'll just grab you the mic. There we go.
Which is difficult for a charity chief exec in a room full of audiologists, but I will do that. Tinnitus UK is a charity which is set up to serve people with tinnitus. We've got a bold and ambitious new 10-year strategy. I would love to talk to you in more detail about that, but we don't have time. What I would like to say today is that, as some of you might have heard me talk about at our conference last week, we can't deliver that bold and ambitious strategy to try and help 8 million people that have tinnitus on our own. We need to work in partnership and in collaboration with other people. Audiologists are probably arguably the most important link in the chain between what we do and the provision of help and support to people living with tinnitus. When I met Michael, it was quite clear that we had shared goals. The team understand tinnitus. They've been exceptionally generous to us as a new leadership team at Tinnitus UK in helping us to build our knowledge about audiology, and it was clear that there was a shared passion to improve outcomes for people living with tinnitus. So that's why it's such a delight today to recognise those shared goals and present our corporate membership certificate to Michael and the team. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we look forward to working together in the future.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. We're very proud to accept that recognition and of the partnership that makes that possible. Alex is gone.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm really like not picking this up. I'm used to having the stage all to myself, that's what it is. I'm excited about this next one. First of all, though, we're just going to recognise our honorary membership recognition. Okay, so a lot of you will know these people, and of course, BSHAA is not just about presidents or the board or strategic partners. It's about our members who we serve.
It is indeed about our members, yeah. And throughout our history, we have occasionally awarded honorary membership to those individuals who've made an extraordinary contribution to hearing care or to the society itself. Some of the most recognised names to be honoured include Michael Nolan, British audiologist and Lions International Advocate for Hearing Care, Professor Brian Moore, Emeritus Professor at Cambridge, an expert in auditory perception and psychoacoustics, Dr. Mead Killian, American audiologist, inventor and founder of Etymotic Research. It's been quite a while since we last awarded honorary membership, but today I'd like to invite forward our Director of Membership, Robert Donnan, to make a very special announcement.
So, this is a great privilege for me. This is really good. I went to see this person first time about 9 years ago. I was conscious I wanted to expand my CPD knowledge by actually looking outside our typical industry resources. So I had a nurse friend. She suggested that we went together to see this gentleman doing a wonderfully, it was just the best presentation on the subject of ENT I'd ever been to in my life. It was just great. And I said to myself when I left, oh, I'd like to see that chap again. So when I came into BSHAA, I thought, right, so Rakesh has supported BSHAA for many, many years. He's had a major role in all our roadshows last year, which we're very grateful for, and I think the year before. His presentations are always very well received, and they're so engaging, and the audiologists that queue up to ask him questions after he's spoken, it tells its own story. So it's my great pleasure to formally recognise Rakesh Chopra, Dr. Rakesh Chopra's amazing contribution to our society with our honorary membership for life. So I'll invite my dear friend to come up to the stage now.
You do it. Guys, I was standing up.
There we go, sir. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Will it say a little thing? I'll hold it.
Thank you very much, Rob and Michael. I'm a little bit speechless. I didn't know what to say. In fact, I didn't realize that I was expected to say a few words, but Michael asked me to say something short. So anyhow, as Henry VIII used to say to his wives, I shan't keep you long. So I feel very honored and privileged to receive this today. Rob invited me initially, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be involved with BSHAA in their conferences, in the roadshow, in their webinars. And it has always felt like a one big family to me. And out of all the organizations, and I work with many organizations in pharmaceutical industry, BSHAA is closest to my heart and feels most like a family. I think coming from an ENT side, it's wonderful to see what audiologists do. And I've always said that audiologists are in a great place because the greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts is the gift to be able to hear, the gift of sound. And you guys are in that golden seat to be able to provide that. So without taking much of your time, I wish all the members of BSHAA, and I think that they will do a great job in the future to come, whatever may come. So thank you to Rob, Michael, Judith, Darren, Jane, Annie, Zoe, and of course, Alex. Thank you very much for giving me this. Thank you.